Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Saturday. So summer is coming and I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to get my skin to the point where I don't necessarily need to wear makeup for the summer or any time really. Like I feel like I don't really have to wear makeup now anyway because I'm not ashamed of what my skin looks like. It's my skin, so whatever who doesn't like it can. But there are some days where I just kind of want a more put together look. I want my skin to look more even or whatever. But like I said, I'm trying to get my skin to the point where I don't have days like that anymore. However, summer is coming and there are going to be days where you do have to wear makeup or you do want to wear makeup, but you don't want your makeup sliding all down your face and onto your clothing. So I've got a tiny hack for you guys. If you don't already know about this hack, it's a really tiny hack. Before we go any further, let me just throw that out there, just like, maybe hit that subscribe button right there real quick. Also, don't forget to like and comment, but especially comment because I really like comments. They validate my existence. So go ahead and comment down below. And yeah, let's just get into this little hack of mine. So I'm not wearing anything on my face today because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to demo this for you, number one, and number two, because my sinuses are in overdrive, so I keep blowing my nose and rubbing everything off around my nose and my mouth. So that's why I'm not wearing any makeup, and I probably won't put anything on in this video. However, the little hack that I'm talking about is this. Like, everybody knows about the powdering your face first if you have oily skin before you put on your foundation. And I think Jackie, I know, is the one that kind of introduced everybody to it because she has super oily skin. So that's what she does. And it's a good hack. I like that. But for me, I prefer to mix a powder into my foundation to make it more matte. Now there are a couple of powders that you can do this with, and there are some powders that are specifically made to do this. One of the powders that I like to use to do this is this Chantecaille setting powder. It looks like this. It's a tinted powder. It doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of color, but I find that this works reasonably well to turn any foundation that I have into a matte foundation. But one powder, and you guys have seen me use this over and over again, this is the Urban Decay Velvetizer powder. This powder is actually specifically made to mix into your foundation, and it does a really good job of turning every foundation that you have into a matte, budge-proof, sweat-proof foundation. Trust me, this really works. The only real problem that I have with this is that you don't necessarily know exactly how much to use, so you might wind up using too much and wind up with foundation that's very paste-like. Another thing as well is, even though, let me show you it real quick. Even though the powder looks like this, it has a yellowish tint to it. It can slightly change the color of your foundation. For me, that's not actually bad because the darker foundations that I own tend to have a lot more red in them. So when I use this in it, it turns it a little bit more golden or peachy. So this works really well for me when I'm using it on a darker foundation. I wouldn't use it on a lighter foundation because then, it also depends on how much you put in it. So like if you put a small amount, it doesn't change it too much. But if you put a lot, then, you might wind up with a situation. So let me demo this for you really quick to show you the difference between what a foundation looks like with it and with the foundation that I'm going to use to demo is the Lancome Skin Feels Good Skin Tint. One, because it is much darker than my complexion. Well, is it much darker? It's probably about 2 shades too dark. And also because it is a very dewy foundation. I'm going to use this little spatula that came with my Anna Sui primer to pick up small amounts of the powder. Now the powder is a very finely milled powder, and it gets everywhere, as you can see from that. And I'm just going to drop it onto there. And as I'm mixing it, you'll see the texture of the foundation start to change slightly, and I only do like a small amount. So one scoop of the powder didn't really do a whole lot, so I'm gonna go back in with another tiny scoop and then mix it in again. This foundation has a whole lot of water in it, so what's happening as I mix it in with the velvetizer, and you'll be able to see when I show it to you in a second, what's happening is all of the water is being taken out of the foundation as it's becoming more matte. I can probably use a towel, paper towel, to blot the water out. Yeah, I can. And that's what you're left with. A very matte looking foundation. So I'm going to do the same thing again with my Dior Forever Undercover foundation, because as much as I love this foundation, even if it's a little bit warm, I do tend to get kind of shiny with this foundation, and I kind of want to wear this for the summer. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see how much more matte it can become when I use the velvetizer on it. I wonder if the same thing will happen, like you can see the water coming out of it like with the long comb. And I'm just going to go ahead and add 2 scoops to it. This behaves a whole lot better. And you can see it's a very matte consistency now. Okay, so this is the Dior foundation without the velvetizer mixed into it, and this is it with the velvetizer mixed into it. As you can see, it does change the undertone just slightly, and it does darken up the foundation also as well. So if you don't want the foundation to be darkened or the undertone to change slightly, you might want to use a different powder from the velvetizer. Personally speaking, I don't find the change to be that drastic that I can't wear it. And if I could just seriously find a brush, I would demo that. But apparently all of my brushes are dirty again. Get your life together, Cleo. Get your life together. So you can do this with just about any translucent powder that you own, any matte translucent powder that you own. Things to keep in mind though before you do that: make sure that the powder that you use doesn't have a very high silica microsphere content. Silica microsphere is a powder that is used in other products to help blur the complexion, give a soft matte finish. It's the main ingredient in high definition powders. So if you have a powder that you really like that's mattifying but it has a high content of silica microspheres and you mix it into your foundation, you're going to have a situation if you take pictures in flash. So also make sure that the powder that you're using, if you don't want it to, that it doesn't change your foundation shade. I use the velvetizer. Another thing to keep in mind is that the powder may change not only the undertone of the foundation, but it could also change the color of your foundation. It might darken it, it might lighten it a little bit. I don't mind the velvetizer simply because usually the change in shade or undertone is not that great for me, where it's like, oh my god, I can't wear it now. So I don't mind using it, and I usually don't use as much as I've used in this video to make it more matte, but I just wanted to show you like how far you could go with it. You can use pretty much any setting powder that you like to make your liquid foundation more matte, and usually afterwards you don't even have to powder. Like I said, there are a couple of powders that I myself personally prefer. I'm not sure if you can get the Chantecaille one anymore. Also, it's very expensive to be using the way that I used it. The one that I have was I think a gift with purchase when I got something from Chantecaille, and it is a mini size actually. I think the full size of this is like $75, so I wouldn't suggest going out and getting that one. The velvetizer from Urban Decay is $34, and it's a really good powder. You can use it for any number of uses to mix it into the foundation. It makes a really good setting powder as well, even on darker skin. There's like literally no flashback. Another powder that I also like to mix in is the Co Jendo My Fan Sheet powder. It is a tinted powder, very finely milled. My only issue with this powder is that it is slightly yellow. It's slightly a little bit too yellow for me, but ooh, this is what it looks like. And I use that as a setting powder and also to mix it into my foundation in the summertime. Good drugstore option is the Maybelline Fit Me powder, although I probably would not recommend this to brown girls simply because it has titanium dioxide in it. When I do use this in that way, I only use a very, very small amount of it. So it works for me in the beginning of the summer when I'm just starting to get oily, but towards the middle, towards the end of summer, I can't really use it anymore because of the titanium dioxide in it. But it is a cheaper alternative. I would say to brown girls who want to try this little hack, make sure that your powder, number one, does not have a very high silica content in it, and number two, make sure that it is a tinted rather than a white or even yellow translucent setting powder, because if it's tinted then you have less of a chance of it disrupting the color of your foundation. You can find it. This J.Cat Luxe Pro powder is also a really, really good alternative if you're brown skin, because it does not have it has absolutely no titanium dioxide in it whatsoever. So the only time that I can actually use this powder is in the summertime, because mixing it into my foundation, because otherwise it's too dark and red for me. But this is a really, really good alternative to even the Maybelline Fit Me, because I believe the Maybelline Fit Me is like somewhere between $11 and $14, and this is $6. I believe that they sell this at Ulta now. I bought this from the J.Cat website probably like when it first came out, I think a few months ago, but I do believe that they have it at Ulta right now. So this is a really, really good alternative for brown girls. I think it's time for me to end this little video. I've become increasingly more red as it's been going on, because all I'm doing is sneezing, not only from the powder, but from, like sinus issues. So yeah, it's probably time for me to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this little hack, but don't ever feel pressured to wear makeup or foundation, because I mean, your skin is your skin, it's yours, and you should love it however it is. It doesn't really matter who thinks what, so long as you're okay with yourself, everything should be fine. So never feel pressured to do anything. Just like a nice little hack in case you wanted to wear makeup in the summertime, and you don't want your stuff slipping and sliding everywhere, because nobody needs that. No, But yeah, guys, I hope it was helpful, and as usual, it's been real, it's been fun, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!